Welcome aboard our Katunyumium program. Today we visited Mparo tombs where the legendary king of Unyoro, Omukama Kabalega's strategic palace was located. And today your host on Katunyumium program, Ashraf, alongside my colleague Ashraf. Today we are hosted by Elder Rujumba here at Mparo Tombs, and he's about to take us through how Kabalega's entire history, beginning with how how he came up with locating his palace here. Yeah, Mr. Rujumba, welcome to Fairway Media UG on TikTok and Fairway Media UG on YouTube. We are humbled to you having hosted us here. And right about now, we request that you take us through on the existence of Mparo tombs.
Okay.
Yes.
Once again, I thank Fairway Media for having come here. Thank you for taking an interest in this place. It shows me that you really have much interest in your cultural heritage.
Yes.
I'm called Wogo Rujumba. Wogo is mine. Rujumba was my father's name. I work here as a tour guide for Mparo Royal Tombs.
Yeah.
It's now my third year since I've worked here. Here I receive very many groups of people who have come here mostly to here to learn the history about Bunyoro and the Bunyoro kingdom. As you are also interested in hearing Kabalega's historical background, I'll not waste my time. I need to tell you that this place where you are seated right now is called Mparo. Mparo used to be one of Kabalega's palaces. Kabalega had several palaces, but Mparo was one of his strategic palaces.
Sure.
He chose this place after having come from Kinogozi, where he had lived for some time.
Yeah.
It is said that as this king was living there, he received an attack from smallpox. He recovered from this smallpox very soon, but however he was forced to shift from that place and he came here. He chose this place for a purpose. Kabalega was a man who had a natural military science. If one would ask you why did Kabalega choose Mparo to be one of these palaces, the answer is this is a place he found surrounded by hills. There is a total of about 11 hills around here, which all Kabalega used for his security advantage. I will even show you the way how he used these hills for his security.
Yes, yes.
He regarded these hills as his watchtowers for his security and surveillance, or observation points, if I may apply military terms. On a daily basis, Kabalega could always station a sentry or a watchman on top of every river around here, whose task was always to be on the lookout for enemies. So it was the duty of any person placed on any hill around here. If he happened to sight enemies on his side, that person would be required to either send a fast runner who would come running and alert the king. Or alternatively, if he didn't do that, that same person would be required to sound a trumpet. You see, Africans have been known for sounding trumpets in order to convey message of a particular sort.
Yes.
In the case of war, it could be sounded in such a particular way for people to easily interpret that this is a danger. In the case of communal work,
Yes.
it would also be sounded in a specific way. Communal work, communal hunting, differently. So in this particular case, a horn would be sounded. And then the Kabalega would prepare himself for the eventualities of war.
Yeah.
Now, I need to concentrate on the life of Kabalega because we've come to the burial place of this great hero of Africa. Kabalega was born 18th June 1853. The father of Kabalega was known as King Kamrasi Kievambe. King Kamrasi Kievambe was the father of Kabalega. The mother of Kabalega was known as Kanyange Nyamutahingwa Abuori, who belonged to the Banyonza clan of Mwenze. Why was Kabalega's mother called Kanyange? She was called Kanyange because of her browniness. You see, the Bantu group have a common name for these white birds, the cattle eaglets. The birds, these white birds which are fond of following the herd of grazing cattle or any animal, grazing animal. You have ever seen them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They are white. So Kabalega's mother, because of being brown, very brown, that's why she was called Kanya. Nyamutahingurwa. Nyamutahingurwa was a name which was given to Kabalega's mother because of her beauty. She was so beautiful that you could not easily pass by her without feeling a desire of turning to look at her. In other words, she had impassable beauty.
Absolutely.
Irresistible beauty. Not once. You agree with me, you are adults. You are adults. Women have a natural, they are endowed with a natural magnet of beauty which make men turn to look at them. True or false?
Especially when they're too cute. Eh?
Thank you for supporting my point.
Yes.
So the beauty of the magnetism of beauty in Kabalega's mother being so great, it always used to make many people turn and look at her. So that was the mother of Kabalega. I've already told you the two parents of Kabalega. Kabalega was born 18th June 1853. Why was Kabalega called Kabalega? Kabalega was called Kabalega as a result of his place of birth. Kabalega was born in a place called Bulega. Bulega is a place found in Congo. Why did he come to be born from that place? It so happened, this father of Kabalega, who was known as King Kamrasi Kievambe, King Kamrasi Kievambe ruled during the most difficult time when his fellow Babito always used to make frequent attempts of deposing him. The pressure on this king became so much that he was forced to run and take refuge in that place,
Bulega in Congo.
After having run to that place, it is where he produced his son. Kabalega lived there for some time, but got to learn later that now the situation back in his kingdom was normalizing. He had to leave that place of exile and came back here in order to resume his kingship. But by the time he had just come from exile with his family, at that time his son was a small boy of this size. It was during that time then his parents started teasing this small boy by saying, "You the child of Bulega." So in short, Kabalega.
Kana Kabalega.
It came about as a result of his place of birth. Kabalega was born 18th June 1853. Kabalega ascended the throne at the age of 16. Before Kabalega was made king, because Kabalega had grown showing qualities of leadership right from childhood. It is what prompted his father to name him as his successor if he would pass on. Arrangements had been made for Kabalega to take over from his father's kingship. Then trouble broke out between Kabalega and his elder brother, who was known as Kabigumiri. Kabigumira assumed, being older, he was qualifying to become a king better than his younger brother. Mark you, each one of these two brothers had followers who were in favor of one of them becoming a what? A king. Kabalega had his army, and so was his elder brother. So the war started. The fighting went on for some time. But Kabalega's army proved to be much stronger. So much that it pushed, it drove Kabalega, his elder brother's army,
Kabigumira's army.
Kabigumiri's army,
Yeah.
go and run and take refuge in a place called Ankole.
Ankole.
Kabigumira having run to Ankole, it is where he always based to come and make periodical attacks against his younger brother. The incursions went on for some time, until much time later, Kabalega's army killed his elder brother Kabigumira. Kabigumira having been killed, Kabalega was made king at the age of 16. In other words, Kabalega ascended the throne at the age of 16. Kabalega ruled for 30 years. Kabalega was far-sighted. His 30-year period of reign is remembered as a period of economic reform, political transformation, and a military rejuvenation. I will elaborate on all of these 3 points. Politically, because of his youthful vigor and the ambition he had, as soon as he had assumed the kingship, he embarked on the struggle of reconquering the territories which the Yoro kingdom had lost through weak kings that had ruled before him. Before Kabalega ascended the throne, there are some territories that had been conquered, taken away. So Kabalega had to make sure all the lost territories were reconquered. In that effect, he reconquered Toro, Butuku, Busongora, Bukonjo, and Imboga. Now you can see he had widened his sphere of influence for his kingship. Economically, he transformed his economic aspect. He intensified his trade in ivory and salt, because he had now 2 sources of salt, one at Kibiro and another one at Katwe. In order to ease his trade, he established long-distance trade. Long-distance trade, one at Khartoum and another one at Zanzibar. Militarily, he modernized his army of Abarusiga, transforming most of his soldiers from arrows and spears to guns. He started acquiring most of his soldiers with guns, providing them with guns. The guns which he used to acquire from Arab traders in exchange for ivory. In other words, Kabalega used the barter trade to acquire guns from Arab traders. I give you ivory, elephant tusk, you give me, in the long run, in return you give me guns. Now you can see at that time, a good number of these soldiers had acquired guns, achieved through barter trade using elephant tusks. Not only that, here in Bunyoro we had skilled blacksmiths People were good at dealing with metal work.
Mm.
When these people saw the guns Kabalega had acquired from Arab traders, they duplicated them and ended up producing a homemade gun.
Mm.
The picture of which I'll show you in a book, the other book.
Mm.
You could see a very crude looking gun, but however crude the gun looked like, it also had the capacity of shooting and killing.
Mm.
So now Kabalega's army is equipped with guns.
And their own made Bagwigaire Vata.
Uh-huh. It is good you brought this up. How did this word Bagwigairevata come about? How dare you, if I may literally translate what it literally meant. Bagwigairevata, how it came about. Kabalega one day got to learn that his people had started producing guns. He had it in his ears that his skilled blacksmith had started producing guns. He requested them to bring him a gun which they had produced. He was very curious. He wanted to know. He was eager to know the capacity of his skilled blacksmith.
Yes.
Kabalega, having come in possession of this gun, the homemade gun, for his first time, he was very impressed. He wanted to prove whether it could really shoot. I'm sure by all means he must have tried it, and it showed much to his satisfaction. Therefore, he named it Bagwigairevata. How dare you close it? Now, Kabalega ruled for 30 years. That is the period, the achievements of his 30-year period. But when Kabalega was going on in his reign, and he had turned the age 38, a young king aged 38. It was during the 1891. That was the time when the British colonialist army was led here by a man who was known as Captain Frederick Lugard. Captain Frederick Lugard came leading the British colonialist army here with an intention of colonizing, specifically colonizing Bunyoro Kingdom. They found Kabalega a younger king, aged only 38. Kabalega initially didn't offer resistance. Kabalega did not want right away to start a war against the British colonialists. It wasn't his intention. And by all means, I wouldn't like any person to regard Kabalega to have been a warmonger, a bloodthirsty warmonger. He would never be perceived as a bloodthirsty warmonger. Because initially he first requested for peace talks. He made 3 requests for peace talks, which were all rejected. There are reasons that made the British colonialist army reject all 3 requests for Kabalegas for peace talks. Factor number 1, there are other colonial agents who had been here before. The likes of Gaetano Casati and Sir Samuel Baker. These men, in their wanton greed, or they didn't have respect for Kabalega, they wanted to have their wishes forced on Kabalega. And when Kabalega repulsed them, they went away purposely, more especially a man like Sir Samuel Baker, did much to discredit Kabalega's image, to tarnish. It required him even to write the whole book, which he titled Islamia. And when this book was received in UK, the people there having read, they believed whatever they read have been true. So by the time the British colonialist army came here, they had already, because they had already been fed of wrong, biased. They came when they were already heavily prejudiced against the cavalry. They came with the purpose of just capturing a very difficult man. Another influence came from the Baganda, who had allied with the British colonialist army. They also made damning report because they wanted to impress the whites in order to convince them that Kabalega was really very difficult man. Even the Batoro, whatever history I'm telling you, I'm giving you, I'm taking you through, is documented. These things are documented. I'm not just telling you things out of my own imagination. So it was an influence which the British colonists came with, so deeply believing in this report so much that they could not consider all three requests for Kabalegas for peace talks. Kabalega's three requests having been rejected, he didn't have any other alternative. So the war broke out, started between Kabalega and the British colonialist army. But before Kabalega started the war, he first assessed the strength in terms of firepower and military personnel, and proved that the British colonialist army was going to encounter was indeed a much superior than his, a very strong army. Factor number one, I want to show you that the British colonialist army was indeed a very big army. Factor number one, it was consisting of a large number of soldiers. These were the types. The Indians, the Swahilis, people picked from Somali, the coast, either Zanzibar there. The Nubians from Sudan. A great number of Baganda, about 1,200, who came acting as collaborators. And a majority of whites, most of whom were all armed with guns. Not only this, indeed to show you that this army was a really very big one, a very strong one, it also consisted of long-range guns, which were known as Maxim guns. All these things put together can really show you the picture of how strong the British colonialist army was. Kabalega, having realized this, he therefore could never risk his soldiers by fighting a frontal attack. Now Kabalega resorted to fighting guerrilla warfare. All the years Kabalega spent fighting against the British colonialist army, he used guerrilla warfare, a hit and run. How does a guerrilla fight? He lays an ambush in an area where he expects his enemy to pass, say in a certain thick bush, and he would strike, only to run from that place. And he would run elsewhere, possibly in another forest, and he would strike, a hit and run. Kabalega went on engaging the British colonialist army using the guerrilla warfare. Kabalega is said to have fought in different places. Kabalega, can you imagine? Because from my outset, I had already told you that Kabalega was a man who had military science, good military science, which was natural in him. He could at that time make his soldiers dig underground escape tunnels. A center hole of a reasonable depth going down. But from this center hole, they could dig tunnels going into opposite directions, there. At the top of this center hole, it could be somehow covered in order to be disguised, to fool the enemy. They could be chased. They could be running from their enemies. You could see them dropping into this hole, in this big hole, only for them to take opposite direction, only to come out 7 meters away from them. Wherever Kabalega carried out his wars, these holes have been seen. Say, for example, go to Bujumbura recently. This type of hole was a tunnel. Go near Mika Resort Hotel. There is Katasia. There is the tunnel which I'm talking about. And during Kabalega's days, as I was reading one of the history books, Kabalega is said to have narrowly escaped from the British colonialist army who were hotly pursuing him around the Katasia there. He must have used that tunnel. Imagine, I happened to watch the ongoing war between Israel and Gaza. I could see on TV tunnels being used. Imagine Kabalega of 18th century had this science.
And in the 21st century still.
You can imagine Kabalega's army was consisting of battalions and divisions. Divisions headed by divisional commanders. The likes of Ruabdongo. You have ever heard of Ruabdongo? Kikunkure, Nyakamatura, Ireta, and others. That was Kabalega. Kabalega went on resisting. After having resisted, going on with his guerrilla warfare, after having fought for about a period of 7 years, and the British colonialist army was pushing him from place to place. At that time, he had been completely driven out of his kingdom, pushed as far as the northern side of Uganda there. It was around 1898 when Kabalega had been pushed out of Bunyoro. Around that time, 1898, his fellow king of Buganda, Kabaka Mwanga, also developed a problem with the British colonialist army. Mwanga, on receiving the British colonialist army in his kingdom, he was somehow made to sign a sort of treaty, an agreement with the British colonialists, with the British government, without knowing, little knowing that he had given away his power over trade, revenue, and the administration of justice. This was a king who later realized that now the British had started introducing foreign religions in his kingdom. And the Mwanga was greatly opposed to the foreign religions. He now resorted to killing religious martyrs by burning them, storming certain Catholic parishes, burning them down. He did not stop at that. Mwanga launched an attack against the British colonialist army. He was fought against and defeated at court. Mwanga having been defeated, that was the time he now thought of coming to run towards Kabalega. When coming here, he found Kabalega by that time had already been pushed out of here. Mwanga followed him up in the northern side of Uganda there and caught up with him. Kabalega, on receiving Mwanga, this was Kabalega's remark. He said, "But you, Mwanga, my brother, didn't I earlier on warn you against allying yourself too much with the whites? And my warning went unheeded." Mwanga was speechless. He had nothing to say. However, when Kabalega's resentment or anger subsided against his fellow king, he was able to forgive him and consequently accepted him in his army. Now the two kings are together. Mwanga, Kabalega is joined with Mwanga. They went on resisting.
A fairly younger king.
A younger king. They went on resisting. By that time, you see, wherever there are two opposing armies exchanging bullets, you expect casualties on both sides.
Absolutely.
Of course, Kabalega's army must have also been inflicting casualties on the British colonialist army. At that time, the British colonialist army were also wary of chasing a man who was not giving any sign of surrender for so many years, about 7 years, still pursuing him. But Kabalega showing no sign of surrender. He had now proved to be a thorn in their flesh.
Absolutely.
At that time, they hatched a plan. to make sure Kabalega is eliminated or is captured in order to do away with him completely. At that time, they used two Baganda men, one who was known as Snake Kakungu, and another one who was known as Luanda Ga, who went and infiltrated the Kabalega's army by disguising as some of his soldiers. They accessed some soldiers within Kabalega's army and were able to bribe them with some petty gifts in order for them to show the exact hideout of Kabalega, where Kabalega was really hiding. So Kabalega and Mwanga were taken by surprise. At that time, the British colonialist army concentrated their firepower in where Kabalega was perceived to be hiding in order to make sure Kabalega is eliminated. But because Kabalega never wanted to be captured, he also went on resisting. He shot back as wildly as possible in order to defend himself. It was during that fire-heavy exchange between Kabalega and the British colonialist army. Then Kabalega's right arm was hit with a bullet. The bullet broke Kabalega's right arm. Another bullet broke off Kabalega's left thumb. At that time, Kabalega, the man who was holding the gun, could no longer hold it. The gun simply dropped down. At that time, the British colonialist army came and surrounded Kabalega and Mwanga. Mwanga at that time happened to have taken off and hidden in a swamp nearby, but he was also picked from there. So the two kings were captured together in the same place. Mwanga and Kabalega were captured at a place called Kangai in Dokolo, Lango district.
Present-day Lira.
They were captured on 9th April 1899 after Kabalega had resisted for 8 years. If one would ask you for how many years did Kabalega resist against the British colonialist army, it was 8 years.
8 years.
Wasn't he a brave man?
He was very brave.
Fighting against an army of
Experienced.
With sophisticated weapons,
Yeah.
with a big army, but he went on resisting. Now, on the day of capture, Mwanga was aged 41, while Kabalega was aged 46.
46.
But amazingly, at Kabalega's age of 46, he had already produced a total number of children, which was 139.
139.
79 were boys, 60 were girls. That made a total of Kabalega's children. Sharp shooter.
Yeah.
One bullet, one child.
Absolutely.
Kabalega and Mwanga, when they were rounded up and captured, they were taken to be exiled at an island called Sicily.
Sicily.
There are some people who tell a lie that Mwanga and Kabalega were exiled at Cecil, Victoria. If you hear of this kind of, anyone giving you this kind of statement, always dispute it as a lie. The fact being, these people were exiled at Sicily. Sicily is an island found in Indian Ocean.
Indian Ocean.
To the north of Madagascar, is where you will find this small island. It used to serve as a prison for the British. The British, in carrying out their horrible process of colonizing African states, they would come across any African king who resisted against them. That king would be captured, only to be taken to be exiled in their usual prison, Sicily. So apart from Mwanga and Kabalega, there are other African kings that had already been exiled there. Say, for example, King Asante of Ghana, King Sultan Muhammadi of Ghana, Makarios, Archbishop Makarios, and many others. So Mwanga and Kabalega, they were taken to be exiled at Sicily. The exile lasted 24 years. But Kabalega lived through these 24 years. In other words, Kabalega never died from exile. It was Manga, his fellow king, who died shortly after a period of only 4 years. In other words, Manga died 8th May 1903. Manga's body was later brought back in his kingdom of Buganda for burial. While Kabalega remained there, waiting for the completion of 24 years. Lastly, finally, at the end of 24 years, Kabalega was also released when he was aged 70. They chartered a ship which brought Kabalega from Seychelles up to Mombasa. Then from Mombasa, Kabalega was brought up to Jinja. When Kabalega reached Jinja, he is said to have died of heart failure associated with the influenza. He reached a certain place shortly after leaving Jinja, and he breathed his last. But when he died, there is a word which he cried out in his mother tongue. He said, Mpumuire. That word which he uttered as he breathed his last, it caused that particular place, which is today known as Mpumude. Mpumude came to be known as Mpumude as a result of what Kabalega uttered in his mother tongue, Mpumuire. Mpumuire was later translated to Mpumude. We, the Banyoro and Baganda, and the Basoga, do have almost a pronunciation of this particular word, which is narrowly similar. For us, we say Abanyoro, we say Mpumuire, while the Basoga say Mpumuire. This place could have gone on being known as Mpumuire. Why was it later changed to Mpumude? Mpumude is a Luganda translation. I've come to discover that the predominance of the Baganda in that place, at that time it were the Baganda who were somehow controlling that particular place. So Mpumude dominated Mpumude. But today at least you've known why this word Mpumude, how it came about.
Yeah.
Kabalega died 6th April 1923. So his body was brought back here. The man about March I'm talking, we the Banyoro do remember Kabalega with great pride and respect. Kabalega's history went down in the annals of African history as one of the great heroes of Africa. A man who made very big history was Kabalega. Can you imagine here, if I could take you back, the first dynasty of Abatembi was composed of 19 kings. I want you to go on adding. Then Abatems were taken over by Abachwezi. They were only three. The Abachwezi dynasty was composed of only three dynasties. Three kings. Abachwezi were taken over by Ababito, who are currently ruling now. The total number of Babito kings, beginning with the first one up to this current ruling king, the total number of Babito kings has come to 27. Now, when you add this number of total of kings, the total of kings that have so far ruled Bunyoro has come to almost 50. But surprisingly, a king who stood with the biggest popularity, with the biggest history, was Kabalega. Why did he outshine the rest of his predecessors? The answer is simple, because he resisted colonialism.
8 years.
For 8 years. He's remembered for his heroic acts, his bravery acts. You see, colonization had its bad effects. Colonization disrupted our African administrative structures. Would have we Africans would have developed in our own way somehow. If we are capable of identifying particular types of stones that contain the iron, and our blacksmith could smelt these stones and produce implements like hoes, axe, wasn't that a form of science?
Yeah, absolutely.
Eh? It
Yeah.
was what I'm talking about is pre-colonial days. Had a capacity. We had administration which was very unique. You see, I want to give you a hierarchy of our administrative structure. A king on top.
Yep.
Under him, a katikiro, umuhikirwa,
The prime minister.
and the prime minister. Under the prime minister, the Saza chief, the county chief. Under these people, the sub-county chief, the parish chiefs. Then down the grassroots chief, omukungu. An administrative structure which was very unique. Here in Africa, we had the capacity of curing a host of diseases, which we had effective herbal medicine. Wasn't this a form of science? We even used to have traditional surgeons who could always want to save the life of a mother, both the mother and the baby.
And in fact, it is presumed that the first C-section was conducted here in Unyoro.
Exactly. You want me to talk about it?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you for bringing this up. I was highlighting on the science of the Banyoro, which we had pre-colonial days. As I've already told you, we could cure a variety of diseases using herbal medicine. Not only that, we had also skilled traditional surgeons who could want to operate on a lady, on a woman, in the case of failing to deliver. If a case arose that a woman failed to deliver normally, it became difficult for a woman to produce. So they saw it necessary to operate on this lady by using the cesarean birth. What I'm talking about has been witnessed. It was witnessed by a man who was known as Robert William Felkins. Robert William Felkins was a missionary doctor who came from UK. He came, but he noted in his diary what he saw. In the whole of Africa, Mackey had traveled in several African countries. But on coming here, he stated that what he saw, the cesarean birth he saw it practiced by the people called Abanyoro in a place called Kahara. This is what happened. This man witnessed a cesarean birth taking place. They brought a 21-year young woman. They laid her in a sort of slanting bed. She was tied on the bed, legs here and here. There came some assistants who pressed this lady on the bed. In order to make this patient to escape the pain, their form of chloroquine, they used concentrated banana wine.
Haragdi.
Not to Havaragdi. Concentrated banana wine, tonde ya kabi. In order to make the patient go in a sort of semi-intoxication, in order to not to hear the pain. Now, as this man was watching, there came a traditional surgeon accompanied with his assistants. They stood before the bed. Then this traditional surgeon rose, put up with a knife or scalpel, whatever you may want to call it, in the air. He put it up in the air like this.
That was the ancient surgical blade.
Exactly.
Mm.
Now, this traditional surgeon started reciting a sort of poem.
Mm.
This poem of words were aimed at bringing about a successful medical operation.
Mm.
Within no time, the man lowered his knife. Below the umbilical cord here, this traditional surgeon made a reasonable incision. He cut. He opened the abdomen reasonably. He reached the uterus. He opened it. Within no time, he inserted his hand and removed the baby who was alive, kicking and crying. He removed the placenta. As if that was not enough, they had a capacity of stitching. As this man, Robert William Felkin, was physically watching, he noted everything. Whatever I'm talking about was recorded. Even you go to internet, you'll find this. What I'm talking is really factual. It has been proved in the medical journals of 1884, Edinburgh Medical Journal. It is really stated that what this man saw, he saw it here in Bunyoro.
Practiced by Abanyoro.
Practiced by Banyoro. Isn't that evidence, and a good evidence to show you that we also had a history, a science.
Besides the African chemistry.
Imagine, but it is good you brought that up. When you come to the chemistry of Africa, it is rather harmful, destructive. If it could be put to good use, I wouldn't be object to it. You can imagine. I've heard of several cases. I don't know how true it is. I've heard of some people who have a capacity of channeling the lightning. To strike someone.
That is African chemistry.
That is African chemistry. If it could be put to good use to strike an enemy who had attacked us, possibly if we were fighting against Congo and we use lightning, it could be a very good missile.
But I believe, Elder, African chemistry to some extent has been properly used. Why do I say that?
In some aspects.
In some aspects. Because you'll hear people say that if someone came out there and stole from you, this one can be worked on chemically, traditionally, and is struck by lightning or a swarm of bees visits this person. So ideal, I believe, to a narrow or a small extent, the African chemistry has been used properly and is worth commending.
There wouldn't be nothing wrong if it could be used to recover my stolen property. To hit a thief, to punish him, like the recent case I had in Masindi, where a thief was attacked by a swarm of angry bees and forced this thief to confess. There wouldn't be nothing wrong with it if the chemistry would be used properly. But in some cases, it is used with no wrong motives. To maim someone by using your chemical science is very harmful. Because I've seen you are very prosperous. You have a car. You are a man of wealth. Because I'm envious. Then I said chemistry, which is very bad. Twist your mouth.
It's unfortunate most of our people, that is what they are doing. But I believe they just need to be put to order and maybe expedite how good our forefathers were in that line. And their motive was not meant to misuse.
Exactly.
I believe they were not meant to misuse, but they were meant to, at least do some bit of protection, safeguard themselves ahead of attacking one another.
Surely. Now, the bad thing with we Africans is that, unlike the whites, if a white would be developing something, discover something, this person, at any stage he reaches,
They help.
he records. Such that if he would pass away, if we had achieved success, this record would be left to his people. And then the people would start from where the other person ended. Unlike here in Africa, if you have a knowledge of a particular type of medicine which cures, you keep it to yourself, not even showing it to your son. That's the badness with us.
So ideally, this is to urge elders out there that in case you are of any help, be it well versed with traditional medicine, these local herbs, always pass on the legacy. Tell your children, share this knowledge with others, such that when you are away, there is a sense of continuity, and given the fact that there has been a lot of generational changes, this can be put to proper use or even improvement, because scientists will tell you most of these herbs, rather most of these medicines, the tablets, the syrups, are gotten from herbs and various plants.
Which we do have.
So ideally, our forefathers, having known all this, had they been of great importance to the future, they would have passed on this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now the king I'm talking about, having died at Jinja on
At the
6th April, as they were preparing him to be brought back and his kingdom still alive. But unfortunately, he died on 6th April, 1923. So this king, about whom I've been talking, it's now 102 years since he was buried here at Mparo. According to tradition, a king in Bunyoro would be required to be buried in his palace. So Kabalega basically was buried in what used to be one of his palaces. Although you have heard that Bunyoro has so far been ruled by a total of almost 50 kings. But how is it that only 2 kings that were buried at Mparo? This is how it came about. Historically, 2 counties, namely Buyaga and Bugangaizi, were known for 2 royal functions: coronations and burials. So most of our early kings were either buried at Buyaga or Bugangaizi.
Those are the 2 lost counties.
The 2 lost counties.
So how sure can we be, and how sure can the future be that the remains of these kings are still in those 2 counties, given the fact that previously they had been given away by the British to Uganda
as a reward for fighting for them.
token of appreciation.
Exactly.
So can we be sure, could the current administration, maybe after having regained them, did they take charge to find out whether the remains of the fallen kings are there?
There are arrangements by the kingdom to restore these royal burials in those 2 counties. Now, it is good now the 2 counties were restored to Bunyoro.
Now to add on that, that's why these guys targeted those counties to be given to the Raganda because it was those counties were really important to the people of Bunyoro, given that the coronation and the burial places for the kings were.
Mark you, those are not the only two places that were given to Buganda as a reward for fighting for the British colonialist army. There are several other places. Say, for example, the boundary with us and Buganda was at
Kasubi.
Yeah. There is a river
Mayanja. As far as Busunju
is
concerned, that is
so apart from they were rewarded with a very big territory. Exactly.
Oh. So could there
because they were so important to us.
Could there be some bit of plans to recover this?
To recover the what?
It's now possible.
Yeah, you can see it. There's something which is absolutely impossible.
Next to impossible.
Exactly.
Approaching the limit.
I can talk a little bit about the two counties, how they were restored to Bunyoro. The restoration of these two counties to Bunyoro came during Obote's regime. It required some brave men who went and negotiated first for Uganda's independence, 1961. Shortly after that, they went back to make sure the two counties were restored to Bunyoro. It required the Obote government to conduct a referendum. And when the people voted, they voted to return to Bunyoro. Around 1960 what? 1967. That's how we regained our two lost counties. But they carry a lot of our historical royal burials.
That's why we are okay with that.
Exactly.
Covering them was key.
That's the
Is there hope that these places have not been encroached on? Because apparently present day land has gotten so sweet that encroachment where need be in case of being neglected in any way.
Here, just say in Arroyo, there are people who had encroached. I think we have land that belongs to the kingdom. And they kind of evicted people from there.
In fact,
people are constructed, but they evicted them from there.
The encroachment is really inevitable. If you could have seen the encroachment done to the present Karuzika.
And even here at Mparo.
Even here at Mparo, Royal Tombs. This is how. This is what caused the encroachment. The long vacuum was spent without having a kingdom.
When they were abolished.
When the abolition of kings started in 1967, 66. We have had a very time lag before the kingdoms were restored. So during that time, when we didn't have kingdoms, the people, the encroachers took advantage. It requires a bit of intervention by the government if it would work with the kingdom. You see what happened in the Karuzika. It required a bit of force.
True.
In order to restore the actual acreage of the palace.
But
by enclosing the developers' houses that were had been built in that place. So
maybe a party would ask, how did these people come up with ideas of encroaching? It means there is a possibility that within the system itself, people were either got ownership, these pieces of land were sold to them, something like that. couldn't it be so much of operation if such clandestine regaining of territories is done without compensation? Because if for example, President Karuzika, it was fenced off with the houses of various developers that had developed inside. Were these people compensated?
There are some, as far as the compensation is concerned, I'm really not sure what really happened. But all I know is that a bit of force was applied.
So don't we see that being done in the future? For example, in Vuyaga and Ugangaizi, and those other places where some bit of encroachment.
We may not necessarily have, the government, the Bunyoro Kingdom may not necessarily have to use force. Or the government may not necessarily use force, because this is injurious. It would be required for the government to release a fund, which is good enough
to compensate these
for the compensation of these encroachers.
True, that makes sense.
But then the question is, why Bunyoro? Because this could have happened after the abolition, the 1967. You will find that it is only Bunyoro where encroachment has been done. How about
other kingdoms?
Other kingdoms. Does it render us negligent?
It is a very good question.
Yeah,
I will answer it this way. If what you can see here, what happened here, never happened to other kingdoms, this really reflects the laxity, the indifference we had with the Banyoro. We had this weakness so much that we ended up losing land.
So I think we should know the kingdom is us and we are the kingdom.
Exactly.
If we have that in mind,
exactly,
we can really keep safe.
What we lost wasn't lost in other kingdoms. Because the other people, even though they lost their kingdoms were abolished at the same time. But they went on preserving their lands.
So their vegetable has actually remained protecting.
For us here, we lost interest completely in our kingdom, so much that the encroachers took advantage of that laxity.
So could there be hope that having restored these kingdoms, could we get to believe that our subjects, the Banyoro, who subscribe to Bunyoro Kingdom, got fairly much more love for their kingdom, and they've been Kwatireki way of doing things died out, or it still exists?
It is somehow what the zeal, the interest in the kingdom, which had died out completely from Banyoro. I have hope, I'm quite optimistic, that with the motivation of the kingdom, motivating, people being motivated, this zeal, this interest in their cultural heritage can really be regained, can be restored. We need to be to undergo a sort of sensitization done by the kingdom in order to instill in us a sense of our cultural heritage. Love and interest in our cultural heritage.
Now, Mzee, don't you think the kingdom, we may not appeal this to the government, but you start with the kingdom.
Exactly.
That it is incumbent upon them to make sure that they sensitize, they create love for the kingdom. to these children actually at an early stage, so that you grow up.
Yeah.
You know, a culture that is instilled in you at an early age
Exactly.
is really
It lasts long.
exactly.
In fact, the only way this can be done is, first of all, calling upon all stakeholders. Stakeholders is a broad thing. All kingdom subjects, be it Vanyoro or non-Vanyoro, but for as long as you are within Vanyoro, schools, parents out there, and all visitors in Vanyoro, they have to be told of the beauty, the culture of Vanyoro. They need to come out here, learn our history, learn our cultural norms, how we behave, how we do things. It is important that if they learn, they happen to learn this, it means a lot of preservation, cultural, will be done. Yeah.
I will add on what you have just spoken.
Yeah.
In fact, by coming here, Farewell Media, I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Mzee.
I really appreciate you. We are on the issue of reviving the interest and love of Banyoro, love for their cultural heritage, their kingdom, to make them realize how great and how big this kingdom was, where this kingdom has emerged from. You've not wasted your time. That's why I appreciate you. This is one of the ways of reviving, of motivating the people.
In fact, ladies and gentlemen out there, we are talking about the background of the greatest kingdom in the intra-Castine region in Africa. That is Vanyoro. So, visitors of Vanyoro out there, our parents out there, all various stakeholders, please, no history in Uganda without Vanyoro history. Come out, visit Mparo Royal Tombs, learn about Vanyoro, visit the Karuzika Royal Palace, present day. It is cheap once you visit Hoima. It is 2,000-3,000 away from town on a border. And come out here, get a feel of this great kingdom. It will actually help us love our kingdom more. It will actually help us tell the future. We can only tell the future if we keep out here and learn much more about our kingdom.
Thank you for your compliment, Farewell Media. I've liked your role, your aim of coming here. It's a way of uplifting Nyoro's cultural heritage.
True.
When you go and edit and disperse whatever you've covered here.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to you. How are you? Okay.
We're asking for the Mparo tombs. Is this the place?
Yeah.
This is the very place.
So we enter, this is the main gate.
Come here.
No, you
Remove that thing. We are going to enter.
Alright.
Our dear viewers.
My God. Bunyoro, being a kingdom with a very big, rich history.
Yeah.
This is what made me like the other previous MP, MP
Harriet Hussein.
Harriet Hussein.
Yes.
I happened to see Harriet Hussein defending on the floor of parliament Bunyoro history.
Yes.
He said if we don't have Bunyoro history,
We don't
We
have
got
our-
then we don't have history. From that moment I came to like that lady.
Yes.
I liked that lady.
Sure.
He proved he defended Bunyoro history so bravely, better than even men.
True.
Eh? Whatever you are doing is not a wastage of time. It's a
True.
way of uplifting it.
True.
You are doing the right step, you are taking the right step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, next time we catch up with the Encyclopedia Muzei Buogo Rujumba, we shall always keep coming.
Thanks.
So our dear viewers, as we wind up now, the next thing is how to revive our Bunyoro kingdom.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
We're so happy to Great. We shall come back to that. Okay, so we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that
Exactly.
we revive our kingdom.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.